Remember this name, Warren Wealth Management. Marcus Warren joins me now. His resume is very, very impressive. And let me say this, if he has as much financial sense as he has fashion sense, then we're going to get some good information.
Well,
man,
appreciate it.
I love that jacket, man. You look fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I've been reading about you. You could work anywhere in the country. I'm glad you're here in Louisville because I think there is definitely a void to be filled. But for those who aren't aware and didn't have my homework that I have in front of me, tell us a little bit about Warren Wealth Management.
Well, Warren Wealth Management, we are a retirement planning firm. And so we basically help people transition from working into retirement, or what we call the accumulation phase, into the distribution phase, which really matters most. Because a lot of times, you know, while you're working, you're just trying to build up that nest egg, right? You're working and working, getting your paycheck from your employer, trying to build up that nest egg. But what happens is, and the key is, what happens after you finish working? And that's where we step in. We want to help people down that distribution phase with things like income planning, risk management, investment management, Social Security maximization, and most importantly, tax planning. Yeah,
you mentioned tax planning. I'm glad you said that because a lot of time is keeping it in your pocket and keeping it away from Uncle Sam. No offense, we all pay our fair share, and that's fine.
Right,
but if you can hold on to some of that, that's a good thing. Question for you, though. Usually when you have tax issues, you go to a CPA.
Yeah.
But you handle that. You're a little different. So tell me a little bit about what I guess maybe you saw a void there and you said, someone, if you could handle both, that would take care of a lot of issues. Yeah.
You're exactly right. Being in the industry for almost 20 years now, you realize that everyone works in their own silos. You have your CPA who works in their silo, your insurance person, your investment person, and no one really is talking to each other. And once you're retired, taxes becomes one of your biggest expenses. And when you're buying or selling an individual stock or a mutual fund, or if you're just taking a distribution from your retirement plan, there are tax implications.
Yep.
And so what we decided to do was to bring all those things in-house. So I'm what's called a tax enrolled agent, and I have my fellowship from the National Tax Practice Institute. We have tax specialists on staff, and so we're able to deal with the complex issues that retirees have when it comes to taxes, because it's like this. So most people have accumulated their money in these tax-deferred investments, 401ks, IRAs, 403bs. And those accounts, they have never been taxed before. And you're taxed when you pull money out. And you decide to pull money out, or you generally pull money out when you're retired. And when you pull money out, you are subject to whatever tax rates are at the time that you pull it out. And so we work under the assumption that tax rates are going to be a lot higher in the future than they are now.
I'd say that's a safe assumption.
Right, the debt, deficits, unfunded liabilities, all of those things. And so that creates what we call a ticking tax time bomb for a lot of retirees because they have these investments that haven't been taxed yet. And so what we want to do is we want to develop plans and strategies to put more money in their pockets and less in Uncle Sam's.
And as we all know, the tax laws change often. And if you don't know the rules of the game, you don't know the way in which it's changed, then you can't save that money. I mean, I know that's very elementary to you,
right,
but basically for me, that's all I need to know is like you need an expert, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when it comes to the stock market and its volatility right now. We are at market highs, right, but the market has been moving like this, right? It's been going up and down, and people don't know what to do. And when you have to pull from that retirement account, you may have to pull when the market is down, and so you're pulling when the market's down, so you're getting less money. And then, of course, you have those tax implications. And so we want to help people navigate through all of those potential pitfalls and hurdles that they can run into.
I can tell, Marcus, you're a great resource. So I'm going to ask you this. Well, a lot of people right now are currently, they're in waters they've never been in before. It's been a very unusual year for us. So let's say they've been laid off, or even if it was just for a couple of months, and they're looking at that 401k and, oh, should I do something with this? Give me some recommendations for right now, what the time we're living in.
Yeah, so with COVID and the economy, a lot of people were laid off, and they have 401ks that are still sitting with the company. And so,
tempting. I want to pull it, but I don't want to get taxed.
No, but what you should do, though, is we always recommend at least rolling that over into a self-directed IRA where you have control. Because if it's sitting over there with the old company or the company plan, you find yourself in this situation where you're limited with investment choices, things of that nature. And so if you're able to roll that over into that self-directed IRA, then you have control. Then you have what I call the investment universe to invest in, which may or may not be a good thing for some, because when you have too many choices, people are out there trying to do Bitcoin and gold and all this other stuff, and that might be a little too risky for somebody's portfolio. But they have control and they have the opportunity to invest in things that they understand, some investments that weren't in their 401ks. But the main thing when you make that rollover is control, and we help people roll over accounts all the time.
I was reading that you offer something called a retirement rescue game plan.
Right.
And now this big game's coming up on Sunday. We're all aware of that. Okay, it makes perfect sense. But there's much more to this. It seems to be more comprehensive. Tell me what this includes.
Yeah, so our retirement rescue game plan, it's a physical packet of information that's delivered free of charge to your front door that helps you rescue your retirement from all the risk that can threaten it. So you have market risk, you have inflation risk, interest rate risk, and most importantly, tax rate risk. So what's in that game plan is a copy of my 2 books, the Retirement Playbook and the Tax Playbook. And if you notice, you got game plan, and you have my books are called playbooks. Big sports guy, that's why you got that theme.
That's okay. I like that.
There's some financial reports in there, and then there's also access to my video series, which is entitled "Retire Tax Free." So a lot of good information in there.
Okay, so this is absolutely free. So
Yes.
if someone's watching right now, I think this is good information to have in front of you. Questions you should probably ask yourself: where are you here, taxes, all of that. Okay, so how do they receive that again?
They receive that by either calling into our office, which is the number's 502-339-8255, or better yet, you can go online to warrenwealth.net and put in your information, and that game plan will be delivered to your front door.
Marcus, I love talking to you because, like I said, all these questions I have, and I don't mean to pick your brain, and I certainly don't want to get too personal here because people are going to watch and go, man, that Ramsey has no money. You're going to feel for me. But tell them a little bit about your background, because I think, folks want to hear, hey, if I'm going to talk to someone about my money, that's very personal.
Yeah.
Tell me about your background.
So I started off as a financial analyst for MCI WorldCom, and out in Dallas, Texas, and they moved me out to, actually it was Winchester, Kentucky, but I lived in Lexington when I first moved here back in '98. Then got into the financial services industry not too long after that with a bank out in Baltimore. I did some postgraduate studies, business school out at Harvard. Did that.
So you brush right over Harvard.
Yeah.
You say Harvard, and I'm doing this. I'm going, yeah.
And so got my MBA, became a tax enrolled agent. And been basically here helping families and retirees, almost 20 years now here in Louisville, and it's been fantastic. It's been great.
We mentioned that money is very personal.
Yeah.
So if someone's watching right now, maybe they have a tax challenge, perhaps with wealth management, they want to get your opinion on stocks, et cetera. They can get a one-on-one meeting with you, Marcus?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to talktomarcus.com, and my calendar pops up. You can schedule a meeting, or better yet, you can just call 502-339-8255. Our staff is ready to take calls, and we'll set up that free appointment. With
a minute left here, I have to ask you, totally off script, this GameStop thing that went on.
Right.
Okay, I know it's tough in a minute, but your thoughts on all this?
GameStop is, number one, I would probably stay away from it. Sure. Simply because the average individual investor always ends up holding the bag. When we get all the information on GameStop and the Reddit message boards and all of that.
Yeah, it was news because it was unusual.
Exactly, and it's generally too late. So once people are hearing about it, it's too late. You're going to jump on. And by the way, the stock is down over 80% since it's hit its all-time high.
So the people who played it right, that is unusual, right? Yeah, that's literally, that's that Haley's Comet kind of thing. Yeah.
Hey, if you like to gamble, if you like to go to Churchill, bet on the ponies, all that stuff, you might want to get into GameStop. I don't know.
All right. Again, Warren Wealth Management, the information is on on your screen. Yeah, they'll send you that information absolutely free. I love it. Thank you. I really appreciate it, Marcus. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to steal his jacket. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to find out what's happening at 2 o'clock. Dawn G will join me, and she'll talk about Wave Country.